and that's what I love, you know. So sometimes people get angry because you find an artist that's making money, that's making a good living out of music, but yet music wise they're not as talented, but hustling wise they're crazy with it. So and one dude, one of my actual musical coaches, his name is Manifest. That's another person. Got to check it out. You got to check him out. He's amazing. He does slash rock, rap. He told me one thing. He told me, music's about 10% actual art, the craft, and then 90% promotion and hard work. So
Yeah, that's the truth.
that's exactly what the truth is, and that's what the record label did not want us to know. You know what I mean? So, but when the door opened up, when internet when the internet came out, and all of a sudden, hold on one second, yo, like I have access to the internet. When back in the days, the record labels were the only ones that had access to the internet, and if you didn't have a record getting spin on top FM radio, you were nobody. But now it's a whole different scenario. You know what I mean? I could sell about 30,000 CDs in my own city, and nobody knows about me. But I bring in about 300, 400, $100,000 a year, but nobody knows about me. So it's a whole beautiful era right now when it comes to music.
Right on, right on. Now, would you say that those things have kind of led you to become a filmmaker?
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Because whenever I write a song, I see a vision. So film it was very, very easy. All I had to do was master the art of just holding a camera, because a lot of my songs, they're all story based. You know what I mean? They tell a story, or they tell a circumstance that I've been through or I know of. So doing film, all it is for me is just I ain't rhyming no more, but I'm doing the exact same process. I'm still writing when I write the script. It's the same format I used to write a song, because everything is story based. When I see, before I actually write a song, I see the whole vision in my head. I see what I want to say. I see how I want to say it. I see the words I'm going to use, and that's the same process I use with film. So yeah, film music definitely made film like easy, like so easy, so easy. It's like I could write a script every 5 seconds if I wanted to. It's that easy.
Wow. So how did that lead you to write and create Fatherless Child?
Well, Fatherless Child is a documentary I wrote, and I filmed, and I produced, and I wrote, and everything. And what it was is where the area I lived in. It was this hood in Toronto called Rexdale, where I grew up, and like no word of a lie, at least like 90% of all the youth there did not have a dad. So and because they didn't have a dad, all of them carried the same characteristics. You know what I mean? They carry the same questions, they carry the same behavior patterns. So I decided to do a documentary to spotlight that issue, because a lot of times, we look at a person and we're like, that dude's acting up, he's going crazy, man, he's on crack and all that kind of stuff. But it's something very, very simple. It could be just dude just needs acknowledgement. He just needed to see a father figure in order for him to know how to behave. A lot of times we're like, why is he behaving like that? But some of us, we do have that two-parent home, so it's a lot easier for us to think at a whole different process. Even a woman, some women, they're promiscuous, or they just chase after the wrong things when it comes to love. But when you look down and deep into it, a lot of them did not have a dad. So, and even if they did have a dad around the house, maybe he was abusive and stuff like that. So they grew up thinking that this is the only way a man should behave, and this is okay for a man to behave this way. So they accept that because that's all they know. So, and I realized, a lot of the time it's because the father wasn't there, or even if he was there, he wasn't active in their lives. So I decided to do a documentary to bring light to that, and stuff like that too. That's how that pretty much came about. Pretty much my songs is what I see, what I've been through. Same thing with my film. Where I am, what I see, what I've been through, and stuff that I believe would help the circumstances, or the situation that I'm facing.
What type of response did you get from the release?
Oh, it was amazing, man. Like a lot of like a lot of dudes, even women, came to me and were like, "Thank you, man," because after what,
Oh wow, that's
yeah,
cool.
it was kind of crazy. It's one of those situations where I was like, I don't even know what they're thanking me for because I had no clue. But just because all I did was I gathered about maybe about 20 different people and allowed them to tell their story. And in one of one lady inside the documentary, she was actually molested by her own dad, and her mom was so messed up in her brain that she wanted to keep a man so badly because her mom never had a father, never grew up with a dad. So when she got a man, she would do anything on the planet to keep that man, even if it meant sacrificing her own child. So that was kind of crazy. And once I put that on film, I was so shocked how many women were going through that same scenario. It's one of those things.
Wow.
Yeah, man. Like, and then, and it's almost like when I put it out, and when that lady was telling her stories, and the fact that she went to her mom, and her mom, knew it was happening, but she would just pretend that it didn't happen just so she could keep this guy. A lot of women, confess and say, yo, my mom did the exact same thing, you know what I mean? And now they're growing up with this hate and anger and bitterness, towards their mom or even their dad, and even with the fathers, with the men that grew up without a dad, a lot of them, were saying that, what, like, now I know why I do the things I do. You know what I mean? Now I know why when somebody says something to me, I can't really hold my anger back. I just react instantaneously because I'm not really reacting at them. That person, I'm looking at them as if they were my dad, and I'm reacting towards them as if they were my dad, and yeah, so they were able to look within themselves and say, you know what? Okay, this is the reason why I act this way. So now I have a focal point that I can start working on to better my life and to better the way I deal with society and people.
Now, I got to watch about half of it. I think I got up to the young lady that you were talking about, and yeah, I was doing a couple other things and I think some edits, and I wanted to get back into it because it was kind of, I was like, whoa, and it kind of took me back, but I didn't get all the way through it because I was like, wow, that's real serious. How is your relationship with your father, and has fatherless child affected that in any way?
Well, I always had a good relationship with my dad.
Right, I can hear.
Yeah, yeah, I always had a good relationship with my dad, and he was a dude that never spoke too much, So he just, but at the same time, I don't think I ever even heard him say "I love you," but just the way he talks to you, he loves you. You know what I mean? He respects you. Sometimes he just grin and smile, and that's all the acknowledgement you need. So he was a great role model. He was, when that whole thing in Africa was going on, when I sit back here as a man and say to myself and say, man, this dude had a hit on his life. And he has what, 5 kids and a wife? And what do? You know what I mean? He has to take his whole family, sneak into, actually walk to a whole different country. And now when you get to the different country, you got to be in hiding and then figure out how am I going to feed these people? How am I going to clothe these people? And you know what I mean? And then on top of that, find a way to get him out of this country, or else pretty much it's going to be, he's believing it's going to be his fault why, my family is dead. Because Idi Amin was no joke when he says, yo, do this and you don't do it, he's going to kill you. So, and then now we're in Canada, and, my mom's a stay-at-home mom. Now he has 5 kids and a wife to support, and we came with nothing. So just to when you think back and the fact that, we actually made it, and the stress and just looking at him, he you never even knew anything was wrong. You know what I mean? It's a lot of respect I have for him, and even though we weren't, sit down and talk about life and whatever and whatever. You know, you knew we had a great respect for each other, and he just by looking at the moves he made in life, you know, that taught me a lot. So everything I am is through him and my mom, obviously as well. But definitely the fact that he's a man, it relates to me a little bit more.
How was your real life tour going?
Oh, that's going great, man. You know, so it's all across the country here. It's going fantastic, man. You know, sometimes I'm in cities where it's like, you know, lots of people sometimes. Because Canada is mixed up, you know. You go from one city with, you know, a couple million, and then the next city right beside it has 500 people. So it's like a whole different setup. But so it's teaching me a whole lot. And at the same time, I roll into some cities where they ain't never seen black people in their life. You know what I mean?
Yeah, right.
So it's like it's interesting. So it's like I'm seeing a lot. I'm meeting all these people that probably I never would have encountered in my life. You know, you know the way they're living. I rolled up in this city where it's all Mennonites, but so I'm like, wow, you guys listen to this stuff? Like, it was pretty cool. So the tour is going great, you know, and it's amazing, you know. You get to learn a whole lot about your own country that you even know, you know, areas in your country that you didn't even know existed.
Yeah, right. I was gonna say that. That's got to be interesting for the most part. Had you ever gotten a chance to do much travel around Canada before this?
Um, Only the major cities, though. Only the major cities like Montreal, Toronto, you know, Calgary, whichever, Edmonton, whatever. But not the smaller cities. I never even knew they existed. So yeah, now it's like the fact that, you know, you're able to go inside these smaller cities. I love the smaller cities because I learned so much. You know, you got dudes that I come from a hood where it's like, you know, everybody got bars on their window and all, but then I roll up and ain't nobody know you, but then they want to make, you know, like everybody's door is open and you stay the night. They got an actual room dedicated for people off the street that they want to help or are lost or whatever, you know. So it's kind of weird, man. So, but yeah, I learned so much from the smaller cities and just the way of life, and it actually brings me back. It's almost like it brings me back to the times where how life was supposed to be. You know what I mean? Just everybody trusts each other. Nobody's doing no slackness. Nobody's, you know, had bad intentions. So yeah, I'm learning a whole lot, but not really from the bigger cities, just from the smaller cities.
Well, now, any advice that you have for an upcoming gospel rapper, or actually for anyone, in fact?
The number one advice is tell the honest truth. As long as you have half of the talent, you can make it. Everything's a grind. You know what I mean? And we're in the era right now where it's like if you don't make it in this particular era, it's not because you're not amazing. It's because you're not pushing enough. Because you got dudes in this era that have half of the talent of someone else, but yet they're 10 times further. So what I say is that, you know, you market yourself. Let everybody on the planet know you exist. You know what I mean? Make music for yourself because now we're not in a cookie cutter musical era where you have to sound like this. You know what I mean? Or you have to sound like that, or you have to look like this. So we're in an era where it's like if you just be true to yourself, you know, if you're a laid back person, just, you know, that's what you are. If you're a flamboyant person, that's what you are. But there's always gonna be people like you. So those are the people that are gonna be your true fans. Don't try to get the popular, you know, vote or the, you know, the pop crowd. Get the crowd that will stay with you. If that's even 1,000 people or even a couple of thousand people, those people will sustain your career for the rest of your life. Even 5,000 people, that's about 50 grand a year you can make just on CD sales. And if you're a hustler, it's so easy to sell, you know, 5,000 CDs if you're actually out there. You know, you can even print your own CDs and go just walk the street. And by the time you come back a couple hours later, you could definitely sell about 10 CDs a day easy, completely easy. That's $100 a day, you know, and you just keep on going. Or you can sell 20 CDs. That's $200